Hello there, and welcome to a special episode of Trope on a Rope, where me and my co-host, Mr. Colin Gerard, say hello, mate.
Oi, oi, Saveloy.
Today, we are joined in our quest to examine the tropes that have come to define cinema by a special guest, writer of the show's main theme, Mr. Christian Stoner. How are you, mate?
I'm doing good, thank you, Jeff. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's a nice sunny day. Colin is recording this in the middle of the night, and it's early morning for you because we've got an international pod.
And it's pissing down with rain here. Isn't it amazing how the weather changes in different countries?
Yeah. Are we in all three hemispheres?
Yeah, I mean, like Colin's in Japan, I'm in the UK, and you're in America. So, yeah, we're nicely spread around. We need someone in the southern hemisphere. So, does anyone know anyone in Australia? Christian, you wrote the main theme to the show.
I did.
Not as the main theme to the show. It's just a song that you released years ago. And you emailed it to me years and years and years and years ago, like 15 years ago. And I emailed you to ask permission to put it at the front of this podcast. And you didn't recognize it at all?
I had no recollection of writing it. After a couple of listens, I vaguely remembered the lyrics that I'd put over the top of it. But I could no recollection of recording the music whatsoever. I think at the time I was messing around with like GarageBand on my first ever iPad. So I think it's a result of whatever samples are on there. But I was really just a vehicle so I could rap over the top of it, which now in hindsight is embarrassing.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that song that you wrote for? And we had our friend Aichan in the music video.
Yes, yeah. Pictures. That's I've been trying to relearn how to play guitar because I hadn't really played for a very long time, and I've been trying to find songs that I've written or I've been in bands that have written over the years that I can just do like little open mic nights and stuff. And Pictures is one of the songs that I figure it would work well acoustically.
That was a really good song, man.
I was going through a lot of this yesterday because I knew you were coming on, so I looked at Pictures again. So the song on the front of this podcast is called Black. And are you embarrassed by your rap? Because I was going to play it in full at the end of this episode.
Please do.
No, you can do it. I think that's actually it's better than anything I could write now.
Fair enough. So the trope this week and for the next 3 weeks is musicians/actors, the times when musicians make a crossover into film, usually to make a film that's not about them, but at the same time is about them.
Yeah.
Of which today's film, House Party, is probably an outlier compared to the other two. So we're doing House Party, 8 Mile, and Purple Rain. Possibly not in that order.
I've never seen Purple Rain.
Neither have I. So that should be fun.
Fuck?
Have we just committed a cardinal sin?
Oh yeah. I mean, to be fair, you guys were probably born in '84, right?
I was born in '84, yeah.
Is that the oldest film that we're doing on this so far? I thought it was this, but this is 1990 House Party.
1990, yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I looked at the cast names. One of the kids' real name is Christopher Reed.
Yes.
Which I immediately thought Superman, and then I thought, Colin, you're a fucking idiot. That's Christopher Reeve.
That's the chain of thought I would have had if I heard you think that.
All right, shall we talk about House Party?
All right.
That's a good idea.
House Party tells the story of a kid called Kid who, whilst grounded, sneaks out of the house to go around his mate's house to dance, rap, and swing his dick wildly around, hoping that it hits something. On the way to and from the party, he gets into various shenanigans with the local gang who at one point attempt mass murder, as well as 2 corrupt cops who engage in the kidnap and torture of minors, all culminating in the attempted gang rape of our protagonist. Rotten Tomatoes describes this film as light, entertaining teen comedy.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the comedy part, to be honest. It's not that funny.
I think this is so far. I was looking at the Rotten Tomatoes score of this. I think this is the highest rated film that we've had so far.
You're welcome.
Probably just because of nostalgia.
Yeah, possibly. It's 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What the fuck? It's 94%.
Fucking amen. Well, this is an interesting because was this the first time you guys have watched the movie ever?
No, I watched it once with you in Southampton while we were stoned.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's my answer to that as well.
Okay, that makes sense, because this movie came out when I was, what is it, 1990. So I was 13. So it probably came on Sky Movies probably when I was 14, 15. And I was a white guy on the streets of Southampton thinking I was super cool, listening to LL Cool J. And then one night this movie was on that, like, I saw the trailer for, and I was like, whoa, it's about hip hop, and I'm well into hip hop because I'm white and 15 and have no black friends at all. And I moved, and I instantly fell in love with it. Thought it was the funniest fucking movie ever. Including yourselves, every person I've ever met for the last 34 years, I've made watch it. So it was interesting to me, like, whether, because I still watch it all the time, thinking it's hilarious, whether it still holds up as a movie today. And I guess Colin's response is no.
No, thing is, it holds up as a movie. It's not like that bad a movie. It's just not 94%.
I mean, it's probably, yeah, I kind of agree with that. But I would just say whether the jokes still hit, I guess, and that's interesting.
Yes, some of them do, but some of them are, like, I don't think were funny. Like Eraserhead.
I don't know.
It's not even clever.
Would you lean more towards the IMDb score then, Cole, which is a more pedestrian 6.5
out of 10?
Out of 10, yeah.
No, I think I'd be close. I'd be closer to Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't think I'd get to 90.
I mean, 94. Even for me, it's probably my favorite movie ever, or at least one of my most watched movies ever. And I ain't giving it 94%. I understand its limitations and faults, but yeah, 94 is a high score.
It's wildly rewatchable because I watched it again last night, and I thought, oh, it's going to be a bit of a chore to watch this film again, and it really wasn't.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I watched it just before I came onto the podcast. I skipped the middle and rewatched the end, the second half. Not a problem. Easy to watch.
Yeah, so I watched this like 2 weeks ago, and then I rewatched it last night. And yeah, no, I had a blast watching it last night as well. Funny. It's most of the quotes. It's got very quotable film.
Yeah.
I have tried to write them down, and I'll see if I can get to them when we get to that point in the film.
I'll correct you if you've got them wrong.
I do like the rap battle as well. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I distinctly remember as a 16-year-old sitting down and pausing the video of that and learning and writing down the entire rap and learning it at the time. I can still do it verbatim to you. Maybe I'll do it afterwards so you can stick it at the end of the show.
That'll be a bonus feature.
Bonus, I'm not sure. But it also, so as a comedy, I think it fits quite healthily into a lot of everyone's favorite comedy that just take place in one night and have a party in them. Like Super Bad, like all of these kind of like comedy movies where something happens, shenanigans happen along the way, and then it's the end of the night and everyone goes to bed.
And we all learn about safe sex.
It's true.
Yeah, no, I do like those films that just take place over one night. There's a couple of weird genre films from the early 80s, and like Four Rooms and After Hours, I think is the name of the film.
I rewatched Four Rooms recently, actually.
At least two of the rooms are really well written.
Yeah, exactly. Two of the films.
Yeah.
There's Harold and Kumar.
Yeah. The Christmas Harold and Kumar comes out every December for me, so I watch Harold and Kumar's Christmas every year.
I haven't seen Dude, Where's My Car, but I assume that follows a similar structure.
I've also not seen that, but I'm going to guess so. Yeah, a day looking for a car.
Yeah, pretty much. One thing I did want to talk about before we talk about the film is the clothes in this are great 80s stuff going on. I know it's early 90s, this film, but it's just the tail end, and there's some beautiful clothes in this.
It bridges, well, I'm guessing it was filmed in the 80s if it came out in 1990. So it was, it's an interesting bridge of what was to come.
I actually have a note on one of my notes was possibly more 90s than all of the 90s combined, and just condensed into one movie with the clothes, like the fucking massive hoop earrings.
I'm a huge fan of clothes that have kind of got deep cuts that no one gets on, and as stated earlier, I've seen this movie got to be in the 200s. Like, I've got to have seen it. I've got to have seen it, like, definitely more than 100 times. And I didn't notice until watching it last night the outfit that Play's wearing in the canteen scene at the start, where he's wearing like a jean jacket and jeans, and it says play, and there's a clock in it, like it's playtime. Like, but it has its own logo. Like, playtime has its own logo, and it's on his jeans and his jean jacket. And I immediately googled, like, can I fucking buy this logo anywhere? Like, I need a jean jacket with playtime written on it. And his suit at the party is just freaking phenomenal.
I love the fact that Kid he just wears. I don't know how to describe what Kid wears. It's like a weird grey/teal flecked shirt.
Yes, he was dressed a lot more like I was in the 80s.
But it's still very 80s.
Yeah. It would be if you went to a fancy dress party as Kid and Play from House Party, the person playing Play really gets the good costume. Right? and also is the only way to recognize who you've come as.
I was thinking about, like, because there's a lot of things that are made today that are set in the 80s, like that recent Wonder Woman film and like Stranger Things, and like they never really get the clothes quite right, to the point where you can kind of forget. Stranger Things, the last season, you can kind of forget that it's set in the 80s because everyone's just wearing normal clothes. We need more shit like this, vibrant shit.
It's more, they get the hairstyles right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no. I mean, I guess we should just approach the elephant in the room, which is Kid's hair. Like nobody even came close to a high top fade that high at any point. And once he'd done it, like, it was totally off the table because anyone. It's like Slash, right? Like you have a vision so iconic that no one could ever copy it. There's no subtlety to it. It's like, if you've got long black curly hair and you're wearing a top hat, you're mimicking Slash. And if you've got a 1.5 foot high top fade, you are Kid.
Right. Going through the movie, the intro, like over the credits, it starts with a house party and a house that's very full of smoke to the point where they dance and they blow the roof off.
They blow the roof off this mother, I believe.
I totally forgot about that intro. I must have missed that part.
Oh yes, yeah, that's it's just a camera follows through the house, right? And it's a kind of smoky house. You just hear lots of bobbing,
and
then the camera goes up and the roof explodes off.
Yeah, it's a very, very smoky house to the point that it would be a health and safety nightmare. But yeah, it's also completely disconnected from anything else in the film. It's just
apart from the ending.
What happens at the end? What, does the roof come back?
Oh, the roof falls down on the floor.
Yeah, like kills the two asshole policemen.
All right, toy.
Well, I'm glad to see you two have both done your homework so well. What happens at the end?
I must say that I saw the roof come flying and land on those two policemen. I was like, where the fuck did that roof come from? Now I finally get it.
When the film starts proper, we got Kid, who's Chris, Play, who's Peter. Although in real life they're both Chris's, right?
Real name Chris. Yeah.
Kid's at home. He wakes up, the PJs and the hat that comes off his high top.
Yeah, that there. His slow and it's the hairspray with all the microphones in front of him. Like, that whole getting ready scene is just amazing. And even the music that's playing in the background is freaking awesome.
He's got a little tape player called a Kid Corder.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Like, and this is what House Party had, as opposed to all of because even the second one is still all of the same cast, with the exception. I know Martin Lawrence is in the second one. I believe it was written by the same people, but just the attention to background details, which is what to me makes it like me discovering those clothes yesterday. Like, no matter how many times I watch that, there's always something else I notice in it, because the attention to detail was so crazily good.
I'm probably gonna have to watch it again after I find out all these little minor background details I probably missed.
Well, it might take you 34 years, Cole. I just spotted something he was wearing for the first time.
If you just tell me all of them now,
we'll have a go.
Cuts to the canteen. I've just written a note that says it's playtime.
Yeah,
it's the first time we meet Play. He says something about playtime, but I can't remember what it is.
He's going to he's trying to persuade Bilal to come and DJ and
Yeah.
then I believe Sydney and Shireen come in, and he's like, "Deaf women, I'm going to be hooking you up with deaf women like those." And then, like in a comedy, it goes around to the women, and he just goes, "It's playtime," so he can go and invite them to the party. I believe is the context.
And that's the scene where he's wearing the top that says
Yeah. He's wearing
Playtime
playtime jean jacket.
Yeah, so he's talking. Martin Lawrence is trying to get him to DJ at the party for free. I think that's the conversation. And then Kid's there, and then Kid bumps into Stab.
Yeah.
Stab is so they're the hip hop semi-popular hip hop group Full Force. Those three guys.
Yeah.
Who actually get a mention in the latest Beastie Boys documentary. The Ad Rock tells a story about Full Force in the latest Beastie Boys documentary, which is quite hilarious. But yeah, I didn't on first watch. I didn't realize they were an actual hip hop group. But
yeah, I all I notice about them is that they are clearly 30-year-old men.
I've got that on that's all.
Well, I guess the argument is they're so dumb they've been held back
Yeah, I suppose.
12 years.
Like Bill Fan Forstick.
Yeah, I know when they make these. I know when they make these things, like they're always too old, because we were talking about Fan Forstick, that Reed Richards is clearly a 30-year-old man in a high school with actual children in it. But yeah, everyone like Kid and Play can play young, and then you've got Full Force, who Stab, who is clearly a 30-year-old man standing in a high school.
What's the name of the annoying member, the one with that annoying voice?
Pee-wee.
That guy reminds me of the 3D glasses wearing guy from Back to the Future.
Isn't that Billy Zane?
Yeah. No, the other one. Billy Zane is one of them, but the other one, the nerdy looking one.
He's not the 3D glasses one. All right, okay, fair enough. Name drop for Billy Zane there.
Everyone loves Billy Zane.
Better talk to your friend Billy Zane.
The hard way or the easy way? The easy way.
Stab grabs Kid, and Kid says, "Hey, you're gonna wrinkle my clothes," and he goes, "Your mama, what? Your mama can't afford an iron."
My mum's dead.
Yeah, his mum's dead. And that starts the fight. But I was watching that, and he says, "What? Your mama can't afford an iron?" And like, Stab, you're clearly wearing a shirt that's ripped and fucked up.
And a wife beater.
But actually, so I'd never really. There's a lot of lines where I've thought I've been able to quote them, but actually, last night, another thing that I noticed was he says, "You like send her over. I'll put her on the stroll." And I think I used to think that the word stroll was something else, but on the stroll means to be a prostitute, right?
Oh,
so you've got to go out and I'll put her on the stroll. Yeah,
Because they're supposed to be gangsters, right? In this Stab on those guys.
I mean, they're supposed to be the gangster version of 16-year-olds.
Your options are limited if you're a 30-year-old in a high school, I suppose.
Aye.
And you're not a teacher. Yeah. I love fucking Martin Lawrence in this. He's just he talks so much shit, but then he can't deliver anything. It like at the fight at the beginning, he's just like, "Yeah, man, you fucking stand up for yourself. I'll have you back." And then he just joins in at the end. "Oh man, it's over already." Oh no.
But that was probably one of the. I still enjoy it when I watch it, but one of the worst like jokes in the movie is, "Yeah, I had your back. Yeah, way back."
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
My favorite Martin Lawrence line is that anything that you can do, I can also do, but I can also do it better.
That is a good line.
Yeah, so Kid and Stab, they get sent to that teacher. Why did you call his mother a garden tool?
Yeah.
Again, at the time when I guess like hip hop had first started and the word "hoe" was being thrown around quite a lot, I'm guessing that was quite funny. And I guess it sails up there and kind of catches something now, but it falls a bit flat for me.
Well, it could be the clueless white teacher, because there's only like 3 white characters in this film: that teacher, and then the 2 cops.
Yeah. Her terrible delivery doesn't help.
Yes, I suppose so. Yeah. After that, they're getting ready, and Play's like getting his house. He's doing the vacuuming, and he does that weird jump.
Now, to me, this is like massively iconic scene where he's dancing with the Hoover, and he does like the back shuffles, and then he grabs hold of his foot and tries to flip over, which at the time I tried to work out how to do that for years. But to actually grab your foot and then have the other foot like jump so your other foot goes through it and then you land on that foot, it's quite difficult. Hence why he can't pull it off.
Kids back at home. He's trying not very hard to intercept the message about his fight at school with his dad. His dad's brilliant. I love his dad in this film.
So the late Robin Harris, who actually died before the second one, unfortunately, but he's amazing. What do you mean you don't like Dolomite? You grew up on it.
Like Martin character. What's Martin Lawrence's character's name?
Bilal, Bilal.
Bilal. I'll have to write that down because I've just written Bilal a lot of times.
But then, there's also Robin Harris makes a joke about that, right? So why they named that kid that African name, knowing he from Cleveland?
Yeah, I did make that note. Yeah, I do love the dad. He just mumbles shit, and he calls kid Chris sometimes, and sometimes he calls him kid. Or maybe is he just calling him a kid?
I think it's like the kid, as in maybe that's how he got his nickname. That's how we're supposed to, because his dad calls him kid. I'm just projecting. I don't know the backstory. Haven't seen the prequels.
Oh, please don't say that there's a prequels. I saw the list of how many sequels this thing has, which we can get into later.
There's a cartoon. There was a Kid and Play animated series.
No fucking way. Seriously?
Yeah.
I watched it on YouTube this morning.
All right, there you go. Nice homework. So you do your homework.
They appear. There's live action segments at the beginning of it. Everyone had a cartoon series in the 80s for some reason, or early 90s.
Yeah, there was a Back to the Future one, I remember. New Kids on the Block had their own cartoon series.
Mr. T in his gymnastics league, that was one.
Fuck yeah, treat your mother right, baby.
But yeah, no, so they appear in live action segments at the beginning of the episodes and probably the end as well. And then the animation starts. I don't think they voice their own characters in animation.
I don't think they do.
Yeah,
No, I was actually going to say that. I think they were probably paid an extraordinary amount of money and they couldn't afford to give them the extra to actually put the words in.
We'll get someone cheaper to do the actual animation. No one will know. Yeah, kid, he does his homework because he's told he has to do his homework. As long as he does his homework, he can go to the party before his dad finds out about the fight. He does his homework and then he opens up his lyrics and his bit of voiceover. It refers to Kid and Play like they're a group, but are they in the film or are they?
It's true. Well, those lyrics, Toe to Toe, is an actual Kid and Play song, which is on the album Funhouse.
Yeah.
For listeners who want to go out and check out the back catalogue of Kid and Play. So that's an actual Kid and Play song. So I don't know whether it was just no, because in the second one they are a hip hop. They're a double act. So I guess they're supposed to be kind of just starting there.
Yeah.
But then that doesn't really tie in with the whole rap battle and the fact that Play takes the piss out of Kid for getting gone from the school talent contest and.
Yeah. It seems like in this one they're just kind of like friends. And the rap battle, probably after the rap battle, he's like, they realize they're fucking good at rapping, and they go, "Let's make a group."
Yeah, this could really work. We're just speculating about what's going on behind the scenes here. There's a lot of a lot of off-camera work.
But they never mention being in a group in the entire movie. So
no.
We go over to Martin Lawrence's house, who has the steepest driveway I've ever seen in a house.
Right.
I love his room with the wall of
with all the wall of all the black women's cards, and then with the slippery when wet.
So he's been picked up to take him to the rap battle, but Play's filled the car with girls. You can only get the equipment in. He fucks the equipment really.
Well, the first time it's just one girl.
Oh, is it? I thought there were three in the back.
Yeah, he comes back twice. The first time he comes back, there's just one girl, and he's like, I can't fit my equipment and also 3 people up in that little ass car.
Yeah.
and then Bilal just proceeds to be the rudest motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, you gonna walk? Kick that bitch to the curb and let me ride with my equipment.
And she gives it back. And she said, "I wrote down what she said. If I'm a bitch, your mum are a bitch." That's fun.
Yeah, but then he says, "I'll fight a girl."
I believe she goes, "Yeah, I know, we've heard," or something. Like he's done some shit in the past.
Yeah, it dwindles off into much more insult taking that's not quite as loud. But yeah, this is one of my favorite scenes because when Play comes up with the idea, says, "I've got it. I'll take the equipment over to my house and I'll be right back for you." And Martin's like, "No, fuck that."
When was Bad Boys?
95.
Definitely a few years later. Yeah, probably mid 90s, I would say.
Right.
All of the house parties were well out of the way by the time, because Martin Lawrence actually went on to have his own, in America, had his own sitcom called Martin, where Tisha Campbell, who plays Shireen, plays his wife.
Holy shit!
So I guess this is how they met.
Shireen was the one that kid Max on, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Well, he tries with pretty much everyone.
Well, with the first one he tries with, and then he gets with Sydney in the end, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, Sydney. Sorry, yeah, sorry. Shireen is the one in the yellow all-in-one, and Sydney is yellow pantsuit.
Okay.
I was going to say Trisha Campbell. Her name is very familiar. What else she been in?
She was also in the Damon Wayans series. I can't remember what it's called. I want to call it In the House, but that was LL Cool J. He plays Damon Wayans' wife in that sitcom. Come on, you've got Google.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at Google now. It's just
Wife and Kids
from Wife and Kids. That's it. Yeah, Last Boy Scout. Damon.
Oh yeah, I see it. Oh shit! Yeah, no, I've seen this. This has been banging around on like Sky every now and then. Yeah, okay, I recognize it now.
Oh, it's an old sitcom. It's probably kind of like those Nickelodeon days kind of sitcom where there was lots of sister in the house and that we're all on.
I used to quite like Sister.
Which one?
Sister.
No, which sister?
Tia.
Ah, good knowledge. What on?
I can't remember. I couldn't remember the other one's name. So
Tamara.
Kid, he sneaks out of the house. So his dad finds out about the fight, and they have a little not heart to heart. He gets a bollocking. His dad goes that one step too far and says something about his mum or like mistakes that he's made in the past. Then apologizes. Then immediately goes, "But you ain't going anywhere."
Yep, every little step he's going to take is around this room tonight. But also, one of my favorite lines again from Robin Harris is kids like, "It ain't going to be that kind of party. All my friends are going to be there. I don't care if Marvin Gaye's going to be there."
The dad goes and he watches Dolomite downstairs, specifically the bit that he quoted previously in the film.
We down in the jungle.
The kid sneaks out, and the minute that he closes the door, his dad, his eyes open. He was falling asleep in front of Dolomite. His eyes open, so he knows immediately. But then we don't cut back to him for like half an hour, so he's not really done anything.
Maybe it was still watching Dolomite. So I'll go get him
finish the film.
Just sitting there fuming.
Martin, Play goes back to get Martin Lawrence in the middle of the night.
Yeah. By this time he's fully dressed and he still fills the car up like completely. So there's still 5 people in the car.
Yeah. I think it's the first time they mentioned that he's got call him Dragon Breath.
Yeah, they mentioned that quite a few times.
Then the cops stop. The police stop Kid as he's walking down the street. And they call him a Razorhead, but then they just let him go because they've run out of donuts.
They've run out of donuts, which is again a very probably classic cop joke from 1990, which probably wouldn't land quite so well in a movie. Because the cops have run out of donuts. Good one, lazy writer.
Everything to do with the cops in this film, I don't think would play very well anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot of racism.
But that's a whole thing.
We stopped you because you were looking suspicious, and you definitely look black.
Yes, I wrote that down. Yeah, fucking hell, they do actually say that later. The police stop him. As soon as the police fuck off, though, then Stab turns up in a very fucking 80s red Jeep, open top Jeep. Kid hides in a garden. And they all just watch these 2 people fuck.
Yeah, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah, they all just stop and have a look for a bit, and then he jumps over the fence and they fuck off and they run to the house party. I can't read Greek letters. They were on the wall, something alpha gamma something that's on the wall, and they go to party. They meet the old DJ. Is the DJ someone?
The DJ is George Clinton from Parliament Funkadelic. Is extremely one of the forefronts of funk music. Invented P-Funk, and which was later stolen by Snoop Dogg and Dre and turned into G-Funk. And all of those two, Dr. Dre and Snoop, first two albums are pretty much lifted off of Parliament Funkadelic albums. Like, all of those songs, all of the samples are from Parliament Funkadelic albums with hip hop beats underneath them.
Son of a bitch, your knowledge is absolutely amazing.
I was going to say that
everything surrounding this movie. It's fucking amazing.
No, but why the fuck am I leading this?
I'm just sitting there enjoying the show.
If you get me on the subject of things that I know, I'm good. But then if you ask me a random question, I'm like, nah, that's not in the small pocket of bullshit that I've learned.
Kid takes the mic and he starts doing crowd work.
Why was Play not gonna let Kid? He said only Play's gonna be able to do rapping today.
He said it's his party. I'm the only person who's going to be on the mic. And then he disses Kid because he got gone from the school talent contest because obviously Play thinks he's a better rapper, I guess, and it's his party, and he wants to get the ladies because rapping gets the ladies.
And he turns out to be fucking wrong, doesn't he?
Well, I mean, that rap battle's pretty good. They're both of their parts, but the way it's structured,
you didn't come to play. You just got played out.
Is that Kid wins, right? Because he was the last person to do it, and you didn't play. You just got played out as a great end line. Anyway, well ahead of ourselves.
The garden party one though, he's not very good. He's just saying, put your hands in the air. Come on, put your hands in the air. And just like a reluctant group of people are like going, no.
That was an embarrassing failure.
And then he immediately get the shit kicked out of him by Stab, who appears just from outside camera.
To be fair, he does that garden party one while he's running away from Stab, right? So it's not like he wanted to rap. He's just trying to distract from the fact that he's about to get his ass kicked. So that's probably why he couldn't rap very well.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what his plan was at the garden party, but yeah, he just seems to be wasting running away time. But he can't resist the call of a microphone, I suppose.
I guess that's the moral of the story.
Yeah, and then the DJ fucking hits Stab over the head with a record. What is the quote? I've partly written it here. Yeah, I did it.
3 tears in a bucket. Fuck it. Let's take it to the stage.
Let's take it to the stage. Yeah, possibly. That's up there in my favorite lines of this film. I love that bit.
It is a great line.
They get arrested by the cops like 5 seconds later, and they get released because the people at the fancy people at the party aren't pressing charges. When we get to the party, the party, everyone's just actually dancing. I think
I like the initial establishing shots of the party of what everyone wants when they have a house party. Wants it to be like just like 75 people in the lounge just having it.
Yeah,
I've never been to a house party like that ever.
Yeah, every single party I've been at, everyone's just sat around the edges, just doing their own thing, or sat outside having a cigarette. The only person dancing is usually, if it's a wedding, like a drunken uncle, who's been told 3 times already to calm it down. So yeah, the fact that like there is a heavy focus on dancing in this at this party because they only sit down to take breaks.
Do you reckon that kind of house party ever happens anywhere in the world, or is it only in movies?
I would probably hazard a guess that the early hip hop house parties were probably fairly similar to that. I'm sure it's a slight exaggeration, but I think those kind of street parties of the mid 80s and when hip hop was super underground, I think like when it was more of a movement and there wasn't massive loads of hip hop music out there, I think that it's probably reasonable to say that it was a version of that.
I fucking wish I'd been to a house party like that, just instead of sitting around the table with the snacks.
There's some cool side characters at the party. There's
the guy who keeps knocking into the DJ table.
Yeah, what's his name?
Chill.
Chill, yeah. What's the drunk guy's name? The one who starts talking about
Groove.
Chill and Groove.
They arrive together and he's like, Groove, chill. And then there's the tired guy behind him who ends up falling asleep.
There's I think his name's Clint. He arrives with a girl and he's just like, hey baby, I'm taking you places, meeting people. And then he meets Play and he says, all right, Play, this is Play and this is, doesn't even know her name.
Bonita.
Bonita.
And then Play says, I hope I get the pleasure of dancing with you later. And he says, yeah, we'll see about that.
And then doesn't Play immediately come onto her? Like,
Yeah.
he's with that girl. Then Play just immediately comes onto her.
Kid arrives shortly after, and then he goes straight to the mic
because he's obsessed with microphones.
Yeah, he can't leave a microphone away alone, so he just goes straight to the mic, and he's already told, "All right, fucking back off, it's plays." Then there's the neighbor next door.
Yeah, the belligerent neighbor.
Yeah, I did like him. He's fun.
Well, he's famous. He turned up in a lot of those kind of Reginald. Is it Reginald Holden? I think his name is, or Hudson.
I was about to say I recognize that character from. I don't know what I've seen him in, but that exact character.
Yeah, no, he's shouting shit like "shut up" and "this ain't Soul Train." He's like angry, the perfect mixture of angry and horny.
Yeah. Yes, Gary, you have got some nice ones.
What's his character? What's his character's name?
I don't think you find out, but his wife calls him something else, right?
Harry calls him Harry
yeah,
at one point, and he just goes Harry.
So we just know his name isn't Harry.
Yeah,
we've narrowed it down. Awesome.
Written. Oh yeah, Shireen turns up, and what's his name? The guy who keeps bumping into the table.
Chill
and Groove. See Shireen walk in and go, "Ooh, scandalous!
Ooh, scandalous!" That bit used to be part of a Sky Movies like montage to movies, and it would just stop. Ooh, scandalous!
And then Groove, he just puts on like an English accent and just goes, "I'm going to get those digits."
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
Right? I don't know. Yeah, I've never understood why he decides he's going to do that in an English accent at all. It is pretty funny.
Shireen starts to dance with Play. Well, she's with him Play most of the time, and then Kid just watches him, even though he's dancing with other people who are like trying to jump into his eye line.
I mean, that is amazing comedy when he's dancing with that one girl, and he's just, like his face during that whole scene is just amazing. And then later on, when they're doing the switch partners, he ends up with her again, and he's like, "Bilal, switch again."
Yeah, Play is not Play. Kid. Yeah, he spends most of this film trying to get to Shireen, to the point where I'm like, when he switches to Sydney at the end, is a bit of a sudden shift.
Yeah.
Well, I also like the when Play and Kid gather like a heart to heart partway through the party, and he's like, "Who are you scheming on?"
Oh yeah.
And then plays reasons for why he should be going for Sydney. It was just like, Shireen lives in the projects, the family's always home, your dad's always home. Like, there's no way, you're never going to get laid, basically, because there's loads of people in your houses. You need to be with a rich girl who's got a rec room. You know what time it is.
He says, yeah, that cuts into your dating time, and dating time is mating time.
Right? It's a great line.
We cut to Stab. He's in the car. They're just driving around because they're being followed by the police, and then the police finally give up. And he's just he can't get over his he can't get over Kid. Kid's pissed him off, and Kid's in his up in his head a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to the point where Pee-wee takes him down by saying, he's like, sometimes I'm with, when he's like, sometimes I'm with a woman and all I can do is picture this fool. And then Pee-wee's like, I don't know about that. I know when it comes to my dick action, all I can think about is the pussy. He must have a mental block or something.
That was probably my favorite line of the movie.
That's better though. That's pretty good.
They decide to crash the party. We're going to go housing shit. It gets to a quiet bit where Bilal goes up to Sydney while she's sat on the stairs, and he just very, very proudly announces himself with, "Let's do this, girl."
Again, one of the best lines of the movie, I think.
Fucking Martin Lawrence is great.
His assumption that she's going to dance with him, like, despite the fact that he's been like pretty much shunned by every woman that he's come into contact with so far, he goes to what we're supposed to think of one of the two hottest girls in the room, and yeah, let's do this, girl. Like,
Meanwhile, Groove is in the kitchen. He's getting drunk. He's drinking the only can of beer that seems to be at this party, and he gets fucking wasted on it. Calls it monkey oil and cock diesel.
Yeah, this shit makes your dick hard. Cock diesel.
And then there's the first like the dance off between the kid and play and Shireen and Sydney.
I think this is a fantastic piece of cinema. Like, it's really well filmed. Like, the dance is now like that. The kick dance is now like super iconic. I've seen it mimicked by thousands and thousands of people. Like, that scene is awesome. As a call and response dance battle, I think it's fucker. Name a better dance battle in a movie.
The kick dance I saw it because I was googling Kid and Play this morning. I saw that was most of the images is mid kick dance. It turns up in the opening titles of the Kid and Play animated series a couple of times. Yeah, so
well, they still do it on stage now. Like, they're touring as part of the 50 years of hip hop tour at the moment. They're both like in their 60s, I think, now, and they're both still doing the kick dance.
And that's when the switch thing happens, and then
yeah, that's great. Just because also you've built up the elation and the party's really jumping and they're switching. Like, they switch from Sydney to Shireen, and then somehow Play makes it back to Shireen again.
Yeah, he sticks with Shireen for a while.
And Kid's back with that chick he was trying to get rid of 20 minutes ago.
He gets further and further and further away. Yeah, and the same girl as he was with. It cuts over to the dad, who's just there going, "I'll give him a minute," and waits 10 seconds, then goes, "What's wrong with this watch?" And then he goes out into the streets, and then he gets stopped by the police.
Immediately, same two cops stop the next black person that walks down that road.
The dad handles the police a lot better than Mercer.
Yeah. And they also, I'm from a town called Fresh Off a Cop's Ass, and you're making me homesick.
That was my note.
Sorry, I keep stealing all the good lines. I'll shut up.
No, have at it.
Don't think I can't read no badge numbers, Boyd and Wanarski.
What happens back at the party? Kid and the girls. How? Oh yeah, Kid. What is your general feeling on Kid's game?
He tries to be the super nice guy the entire time. Like, all really forward at the same time.
I mean, I'm trying to work out what are his moves before the rap battle, because I remember the bit afterwards where he sat down with Sydney, and after he's asked Shireen and she turns him down, he sits down with Sydney, and then because that little bit is quite funny.
He's got some good lines in that as well.
Yeah, and there's some good lines in that exchange when he sits down and he's just like, "Yeah, I like that outfit. That's Pierre Cardin, right?" No, I know it was Pierre Cardin.
But fucking, there's a bit where it cuts back to Martin Lawrence as he's dancing with the girl. Was he whispering into her fucking ear?
Oh, they're playing Always and Forever, right? And
Always and Forever, yeah.
He says, "You're so warm and comfy like my hush puppies."
I remember that.
And you're so soft and fluffy like a buttermilk biscuit. And then he says, "You make a motherfucker want to sing." And then he sings "Always and Forever" in the worst voice ever. So that's pretty immense.
Do you reckon that scene was improvised?
I don't know. I'd like to hope so, because "You make a motherfucker want to sing." It's a great line.
Stab turns up to the party, and they get knocked out. They have that line where this seems like three people who say the "I smell pussy" line quite a lot, but every time they say it, when they start going, "I smell something," everyone around them just starts like sniffing shit, like they haven't heard them say this before.
Yeah, that's good.
And then Stab immediately goes to burning down. Like, he hands out like baseball bats and pipes, which he has in the back of his Jeep. And the the two that are with him are like well into it, and then he's like, "All right, let's here's some gasoline," and they're immediately on board with it, and then 5 seconds later are not on board with it.
Yeah, it's a burning house. I was just talking about fucking people up, not burning people down. But you've also been like, so there's a kind of running thing through this, which I think is interesting with the relationship between Kid and Full Force, where Kid is clearly scared of them, but he also just keeps taunting them, like he's scared, like he doesn't want to get beaten up, but also he's really fucking winding them up, which because he just like, yeah, we're having too much fun in here with your girl on my lap. And also, yeah, I guess we would smell like pussies to a bunch of dicks.
Yeah, but they start putting petrol around the house. At the same time, whilst they're singing The Roof is on Fire, Play gets the mic. Shireen picks up the microphone and Play comes up to him and goes, whoa. Let me show you how to handle a piece of steel.
Yeah, that's a fucking great line.
The cops stab. And this is the kidnap and torture of minors bit where they take them to the docks and fuck them up.
It is, but also a good line is to say, "Has anyone got a light? How about a Bud Light?" Which again makes no sense. Like, there's no one's got any beers. Like this.
Yeah. Right. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to the core of the film, the rap battle.
It is a fucking awesome rap battle.
It still holds up, like lyrically still holds up to this day. It's really well written. It's better written than any Kid and Play song on any Kid and Play album. And I'm a fan, but it's the best song. It's just the best.
I remember, as we said earlier, the only other time I've seen this was years ago when around your house when I was stoned, and literally the only thing I could remember of the movie before I watched it yesterday was that rap battle. Fucking iconic.
I mean, the kids throw that word around pretty leisurely these days, but this is what it means.
References New Kids on the Block at one point.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I thought you would. That's why I wrote it down. Also, this is where the one of the plot threads that I think was cut out was, didn't Kid lose his lyrics?
Yeah, you know, I was going to mention that earlier because there's a whole thread where he's like, he writes his lyrics and then he's running away. He drops the bit of paper, but he picks it back up again, and then that just culminates with him getting to the party and going, "Oh shit, where are my rhymes?"
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, and then he runs out the room. I think he runs out the room, but then nothing ever else happens with that.
You never really. And then as soon as he gets to the microphone, he's got the best lyrics ever. just coming out of his head.
Yeah.
I guess it's supposed to be, although they obviously pre-wrote these for years before, but like it's supposed to be them, for freestyling essentially.
Yeah, just improvising on the spot.
And yeah, Colin, you mentioned it earlier where Martin Lawrence tries to join in at the end and completely biffs it straight away.
Well, I was paying a special attention to this bit yesterday because, like, as the rap battle finishes, there's a kind of weird energy where it's kind of like they've been dissing each other for a minute, and then
they're like hugging it out at the end. Like, good job, man.
Kid just kind of stops, and like that line from Martin Lawrence was obviously the only way. It feels like it was written as the only way to actually round that bit out to finish it off, because it's like, well, what happens after one of you's won the rap battle but the party's still going? So he just kind of puts the microphone there and he's like, yeah, and then that line is great. So
Shireen takes Kid upstairs and they go through Play's mum shit, and whilst they're upstairs, Kid's dad arrives.
He's very easily convinced that Kid's not in the house as well. The excuse, what's her name?
Sydney.
The excuse that Sydney comes up with is absolutely obviously bullshit, and he's like, "Oh, well, fair enough. Okay, I'll see you later."
No one can go upstairs with no shit on their shoes. Did I just say shit? You did too say shit.
So Sydney covers for him, and then everyone starts to go home, and then I've got a section here just called Third Wheel Sydney.
Oh, that's sad.
It's okay, Christian. There's a happy ending, so it's fine.
Kid leaves himself a lot of work to do. Like he's got a lot of clawing back to do after his mistake of going after Shireen. Right?
He does nail it though. Like he has like 2 good lines that just fucking wins her over. Genius lines.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does do well. He does do well to get back on track.
By talking about college applications and the complexities of them.
Yeah, showing a bit of interest in her and her family and her life. You know.
Well, it's an interesting thing because it turns out that Kid is actually quite studious, right? Because his dad has made him work harder because he didn't want his dad didn't want him to end up like him. So like they kind of tie that into like Play is obviously not the smarter one of the duo. Shireen is from the projects. Sydney's got like a rich family, and then Kid is poor but has been made to work hard. So they have going to college is something they have in common. Now, and that theme runs on because they both in House Party 2 they go to college. And Play just doesn't just turns up at Kid's college and tries to get him to have another party. Right, that's for another time.
It is quite a good dynamic because he's always after the hot one, but then it turns out Sydney actually has like an actual connection with her. So I guess getting with her probably makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
and also the other one's a bit of a fucking bitch.
Yes, Shireen doesn't come off well.
The party stops because the toilet gets blocked.
As all good parties do.
When Kid is with Sydney in her bedroom, who does she share a room with? She's got 2 beds in there.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even notice that
because they start macking on one bed and then move to the other bed. So she's fucking with the siblings.
Yeah, well, it would seem weird that someone who's obviously quite affluent would be sharing be a 16-year-old girl sharing a room with a younger sister.
Sydney stops him and asks him, "Hey, what are we doing?" And his reply is, "We were doing fine till you stopped me."
Yeah.
And then he has that line that Colin you brought up.
I did want to get I did want to get with her, but now I realize that I want to be with you because I think I want to be your friend. And then she looks all disappointed. And he goes, and I think if you want to go with someone, then you should be friends too. And then she's like, oh, slightly comes in a pants.
Friends are friends as well as lovers. Now we're friends. Let's get with the loving.
That's a good line.
I did write underneath.
Good job.
I wrote that quote and then I wrote underneath "smooth as shit" in capital letters. He sneaks out when the parents get home, and I believe he kills a dog by hiding it in a barbecue.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he picks it. The dog's barking, and he picks it up and puts it in like a kettle grill.
Just leaves it. I found Stab. They see him as he's walking through the streets again. Stab sees him, and they're talking. They're post police beating, and they all get arrested and they get sent to jail. Which is the it turns into a musical slightly at this point because he starts rapping with no music about to avoid a gang rape for some reason that's in this film.
Yeah, which his MO is to basically not get bumped.
He talks to that old guy in the jail cell and says, "How do I make this not happen?" Who is it? He says there's a comedian he mentions
Richard Pryor.
Yeah, Richard Pryor just told loads of jokes to distract them.
Yeah, and he's like, well, my skill is rapping, so I will do a rap about not getting bumped. And they do have. I'm talking from the heart, from the center. The sign on my ass says "Do not enter." I know y'all want to rock like Hudson. It's a good one.
So yeah, he escapes jail. He doesn't escape jail. He gets bailed out of jail. And then they have a little bit of a disagreement in the car.
Well, they mentioned that Play asks if he got laid by Sydney, right? And he's like, no. What? Was she on a period? No, it wasn't a period. We just didn't have any condoms. And Play's like, you didn't have sex with her because you didn't have birth control? What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
I think it's interesting how, I mean, I don't know how bad it was at the time compared to now, but how bad Play comes across. He's such an asshole.
And he's like, what if she gets pregnant? No, that's the woman's problem. Don't fucking worry about it. She can deal with it.
He's not a very nice human being.
He's a fucking asshole.
Let's have a play-by-play of what color were the panties. And then I like that they kind of end up with him going, "Hey, let's all go back to my house and watch Beat Street or Crush Groove," which is like these old hip hop movies from the 80s. Yeah, and then Kid decides that he should probably go, to which
because he's already in shitload of trouble.
To which Pa gives him an absolute whooping.
he sneaks in, slowly undresses, slowly creeps into bed, and then it just goes, "Oh no!"
It's like, "You ain't done yet. That ass is mine," or something.
Yes, that's it.
As he takes his belt off.
So yeah, I think that's credits. Oh well, a house falls on someone's head,
and thus concludes the greatest movie ever made.
Still not 94% though.
No, well, where would you land then if you're giving this a score? What do we do normally? 10?
Normally at 10. I'd give it 8.5.
I mean, it's a difficult question to ask me because I like even the outdated jokes still, through nostalgia and having watched it so many times, you still hit like it's 1990 to me. So I'm gonna and I do feel like it's well enough written and it's thick enough and layered enough that it still works today, despite the fact that some of the jokes may not land quite as well, and there's probably some politically correctness that would exist more in versions of it. But I still think it holds up. I still think it's an easy movie to watch. I still think it's funny. I mean, it's definitely getting at least a 9 out of 10 for me. If you've got to give me percentages, I'm going 91.
Having said 85, but with all the stuff you mentioned about the little extra side points, and there's always something meaning behind everything, like the design of his shirt, the playtime thing, and all of that stuff. A shitload of that stuff I didn't even notice because the first time. So maybe my score would go up if I paid more attention.
I'm going to go with I think 80. No, it wouldn't. It's out of 10, isn't it? 80 out of 10.
Sounds reasonable.
I'll go 8.5. I think it is. I was surprised how extremely rewatchable this was.
So, interesting footnote to this, which I've learned over the years, is that originally I believe that they were in talks with Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff to play the two lead roles, and maybe it would have been slightly altered, and he would have played Bilal's part, and that would have been bigger or something. But originally, they were certainly in the mix talking about it before The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was made, I believe.
Actually, I had a note on that as well. Actually, like it did remind me of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Jazzy Jeff in particular.
Well, it was very much a kind of like trying to mainstream black culture at the time, because black culture had a kind of more of a Public Enemy and an NWA. And I guess things like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and this movie were made to soften that a little bit and make it a little bit more playful and a little bit more lighthearted and funny.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is obviously super PG. And it's interesting how this movie, loads of swearing, the N-words thrown around, quite flippantly, but yet there's no drinking at the party. Like, it kind of walks this double-edged, like, family-friendly, but with language used that no family member should be watching.
They don't push it so far that it becomes offensive. They've got quite a nice balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good.
But yeah, just a shame after a franchise that's 34 years old that has now, I believe, got at least 6 movies after it, including reboots and sequels of sequels. Kid and Play are only main characters in the first 3, I believe, and then they show up for cameos. And yeah.
Right. Is there anything else about House Party? Is there anything that we haven't mentioned?
Well, as an interesting retake on the fact that he mentions New Kids on the Block in the rap, there is now a New Kids on the Block song called House Party, which in the song Donnie and I believe Jenny McCarthy do the kick dance, and then Kid and Play are guest in the video as a second. It was like, came out during the pandemic, and it was about, we can't leave the house, so we're going to have a house party. It's basically the theme of the song. And so it's all of the different members of New Kids on the Block are in their houses filming, I guess, on their phones. And then it has Kid and Play come in and just for like a second and look at each other and go, yeah, they're talking about house party still.
Is there anything that you wish to plug, or do you have any way for people to contact you if you wish to be contacted or followed or whatever?
Me? I mean, all North Carolina listeners, Go visit the hop yard. That's all I got.
No, not really.
Are you not updating your Instagram with your cooking?
I haven't been cooking recently. I'm going to be cooking next week, so a piece of new photos. I'm going to try a new dessert, I reckon.
Ooh.
I've never made cheesecake before, so I'm thinking I might try and make a cheesecake. See if I don't fuck that one up.
Fair enough. And you can find me on TBA tweets, TBA_tweets on Twitter. We're on YouTube and TikTok at The Badger's Apprentice. See you all next week.
Peace out.
Catch you later, dudes.
Another couple more pretenders in the room. My tube seal shut, got sinking from the bloom. At the point of contact, we head on so strong, probably much longer than I assumed. Another night I might have dread something different. Another night you might have ran through ignorance. Had to regret a better life of significance. Struggle stories more in the pants of my belligerent. Cleverly we never leave the comfort zone. Continuing down the road to a broken home. It's easy to forget when we started to roam. A journey that went complete, the sea was sown.